If you thought this year was bad for stocks, I have a treat for you today. On average, September tends to be the worst month in the stock market by far, not only in the United States, but around the entire world. So looking at the S&P 500 this year, it hasn't been good. But when we dive a little bit deeper, it's actually a lot worse. Some of these growth stocks are down anywhere from 50% to like 80% just over the past year. And we're heading into the worst month on average by far. So check this out. Basically what this chart shows is the percentage of countries with a positive or negative return by month. We can see that on average, 60% of countries have a negative return for September. That's not good, especially when you compare that to a month like December, where only like 10% of countries have a negative return. You know, it's not a good thing to see, especially when we already had a brutal year so far. So in this video, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the September effect, why it happens, and what it can mean going into September of 2022. So like I said, you know, looking at the percent of countries with positive and negative returns, not good data. But if we dive a little bit deeper into the actual returns, when they are negative, since 1944, the S&P 500 has posted its worst average performance in September and its best average performance in April. Awesome. Here's the thing. Since 1944, the average, I guess you could say, return for September is around minus 0.5%. That's not good, you know, like we're talking about the S&P 500 right here. Like we're not talking about some, you know, we're not just, you know, single-handedly picking any individual stock. We're talking about the S&P 500. Like that's very, very unusual, especially when you compare September's average returns to any other month, basically, especially April, that on average pops by 1.63%. So by now you're probably wondering, why does this happen? Why September of all months? Why does that have to be red? And I'll be honest with you guys, there's not a great explanation as to why this happens, but I'll let you know on I'll inform you on some of the most popular theories so you can decide for yourself. The first theory is that there's a lot of mutual fund and, you know, hedge fund rebalancing in September, and that can cause some big price swings, and some of them, you know, use tax loss harvesting strategies and techniques, and, you know, that can have a negative impact on stock performance. That's one theory. Another thing is that elections tend to happen around September, and there's just more like action in that sense, and that can bring in some negative price action. But honestly, I think those are kind of bad. I think those are some bad excuses for why this September effect happens. I really, really believe that the main reason we see a September effect is because everyone talks about it. It's known that September tends to be the worst month. So think about what people do heading into September. They are less likely to buy, you know, like stocks for like breakout trades. They're less likely to buy calls. They're, you know, maybe more likely to sell their stocks before September even starts. Like, I think that's a very, very realistic possibility. If we look at the S&P 500 over the past week, I think part of the reason that we saw such a big drop down over the past week is because of the September effect. I'm not saying it's the only reason the stock market tanked down heading into the beginning of September, but it's like, think about it this way. If everyone knows that September sucks for stocks, what do you think they're going to do in like the last week of August? They're going to dump their stocks because they know that September tends to be bad, and it's just like it changed. Like there's psychology behind the market. So I think more than anything else, the September effect happens because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It happens because people talk about it, and you know, they look at past returns for September and they say, you know what? I'm going to sell out ahead of time. Now, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of other whack and stupid theories out there on why this September effect happens. Realistically, though, I really think it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. But hey, you know, it's definitely statistically significant. You know, when you see average, I guess you could just say, like, let's say you see October that has an average pop of 0.88%. That is like night and day from September's historical return. So keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, don't freak out and sell all your stocks just because it's September. Like, I think there are much, much more important events that will drive stock prices rather than the month being September. So it's like, don't get too scared by this news. Another interesting thing I wanted to point out is since September of 1928, since September of 1928, September has fallen a median percentage of 0.42%. But here's the thing, though. Here is where it gets interesting. September has been positive 44.7% of the time, or it's been red 55.3% of the time. So it's like, even though September, on average, tends to be a brutal month, it's only red 55.3% of the time. So it's like, you probably should not be loading up on puts or dumping all of your stocks right now just because on average it's the worst month, because realistically it's a coin flip of whether September will be red or green, especially when you look at past data. So I wanted to make this video to hopefully clear up some things about the scary month of September, but it is interesting. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the month of September and why you think it falls so much, because it's it's interesting. Also, don't forget the stock market will be closed tomorrow on Monday for Labor Day, so definitely enjoy that. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you're watching these videos and you're not in the StockedUp Discord, you are missing out. Join that Discord chat. It's going to be that first link in the description and the comments down below. Tom and I post completely free day trades every single morning. You can network and chat with a bunch of other great people and traders, and you get access to some news bots that are a lot quicker than many other mainstream media sources. So join up. It's completely free, and have a great day.